My mic is like on. I'm lying down and my mic is on my chest.
Nice.
It's right up to my face. So I'm sorry if you can hear me slurping this coffee.
Super close.
It is the clearest you've ever been, Ollie.
That's true, yeah. Even when we were in the actual recording room at uni and you were like in the corner of the room.
Melting into the corner.
Yeah. Maybe I should just hold my snowball like a sportscaster.
What, upside down?
Oh, I could do that too. Let's do that.
Or like a brandy glass.
Oh,
Just
yes.
resting on your palm out in front of you.
Yes.
It has the perfect cusping mechanics.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
This will be a very Shakespearean podcast.
Uh-huh. Let me tell you about the Danganranpa. I've been playing Mario Sunshine.
And I've been hunting rabbits.
I'm gonna put it down. Okay. Yeah.
Fake craves.
Oh, he's on the fake crave.
Fake crave is the shit.
You guys are gonna find this funny, but because of the keto diet, it meant that I could have brie for breakfast. Guys.
Getting the cheese board out for breakfast is
genuinely. I'll just get some brie, cut off the rind, get it into cubes, stick it in the microwave for an hour. It's great.
For an hour?
An hour?
What happens to that cheese?
I meant to say a minute. That's why I've been up an hour.
It just
already.
disintegrates, and I just hoover up the dust.
To be fair, you have to buy a very specific kind of brie, because if you buy the cheap Morrison's brie, it just like melts into a pool. And I have eaten that before. I didn't have time to make anything else. I just kind of scooped it into a bowl and just kind of had liquid brie.
Licking it off the glass plate that spins around in the microwave.
Yeah, you gotta get the president brie. That works.
Is President Brie, we can't let you into the microwave just yet.
Mr. President.
We get, I think it's President Camembert that we get when we want to bake it.
But
the problem I have with it is it comes with that little sticker that is directly on the cheese. Like you unwrap it and then there's a sticker on the cheese, and it's never made any sense to me. And you peel it off and you get this soggy cheese sticker, and it's the grossest thing.
See, I was always confused as to why the Baby Bell you couldn't eat the red stuff when I was younger. Until I realised, like, that shit is just totally just wax.
So Melvin eats the red stuff.
Melvin eats anything.
Eats fucking anything.
That guy's a fucking prick.
Yeah.
Still not over him pissing on the bed.
I'm going to slurp down this coffee before the recording starts. Is it? The recording's already started. Oh, let's get a slurp in there. I'd like to point out that I don't actually slurp coffee that loud. It's purely for our fans.
I kind of wish I had a coffee, but
Mouth sounds as I drink my coffee.
If only I felt the need to fart.
Oh, if only.
Oh,
that'd be the perfect point to where Hannah would come home and I'd just be holding like snowball up to my house. Hey, honey, it's not what it looks like.
Cup like a brandy glass, hunched over.
No, I imagine him
red in the face,
holding like a brandy glass, but like both legs straight up in the air, ass up, straight up. Hello everybody, it is Saturday the 26th of September of this glorious fire-filled year. It is a delightful early morning. Me, Ollie and Jacob are here. Say hello.
Hello.
Isn't it wonderful that amongst everything that is bad in 2020, you can at least be thankful that we are back?
We are the beans in your breakfast.
The
We're
beans on your toast.
the beans on your fry up, giving you a slight heart attack. Just a slight one, just enough to give you a tickle.
Bit of a scare, yeah.
Yeah, just a scare, like the my sister had to get a blood pressure machine because
no.
obviously with the COVID stuff and like, hey, we can't be slapping this on any random person. It's not good to put you at risk.
Hmm.
So we did mine, and it turns out I'm more at risk than her.
I shouldn't laugh.
I have very low blood pressure according to Google.
That's not the way I saw it going.
Yeah, so apparently, like, that's bad. Is like, you know, for years, parents and adults shouting at me, "You're giving me high blood pressure," and now I've got low blood pressure and an adult, so I think I'm winning.
Your blood just can't be fucked anymore.
Exactly, that's
I'm
great.
sick of this year. I'm not gonna pump. I'm just gonna stay where I am.
Is that
what
can
blood
just
pressure
stop
is? I'm not.
I don't fucking know. It's I had to Google what the numbers meant. I still don't know what they mean, other than low blood pressure,
Low.
70 over 40 or something.
I've never had my blood pressure done. I don't. Well, not so much. Not that I can remember at the very least.
It makes me feel ill because the machine goes squeeze on your arm.
Tighter and
Yeah,
tighter.
it's that little kind of pumpy water wing thing.
Yeah,
I think I've had that done. I don't know what the results were. Doctors just glared at me and didn't tell me.
and left.
If you don't tell him.
Should we talk about whatever news seems to have happened this week? Because oh my god,
yeah, we thought this was going to be a slow news week.
Yeah, and then Microsoft basically put a fat sack of cash, a big cloth sack on Todd Howard's desk, and said,
"Burlap sack with a dollar bill on it."
Exactly, with a little mask on. Yeah, they paid in cash 7.5. Microsoft did in cash $7.5 billion for ZeniMax, which includes the Bethesda's publishing arm and Bethesda itself.
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of the in cash side of it.
Yeah, I read it. So
someone is bathing in a bathtub full of money.
Literally, they're like Scrooge McDucking it.
Yeah, well, so Microsoft is a $1.5 billion company now. It's no longer in the billions. It's now we're now talking trillions about these companies.
Damn.
So and it seems like the top brass at I can't remember his name off the top of my head. What's he called? Satya Nadella. He seems to be really behind, like, the Xbox brand just splashing out this sort of cash. Saying like, yeah, we'll probably acquire more people in the future.
Wow.
So yeah, before we talk about like the implications and stuff like that, it was also like reported that Microsoft saw a huge jump in Game Pass subscriptions.
Makes sense.
Like a few, like a large number, which I will try and find again, because it was also Game Pass Ultimate subscribers can now get 2 months of free anime.
What? Now you're talking my language.
Hell yeah.
Was this like a Crunchyroll subscription or something?
I'm a subscriber.
Or Funimation?
I'm not subscribed to the Ultimate Pass.
Is the Ultimate the console and PC pass?
Yeah, it's the fat expensive one.
Well then, I don't matter.
Funimation Premium Plus.
You get Funimation with it. Okay.
Not
bad.
Nah, it's not bad. It's got all the stuff that Crunchyroll has, but it's all in English.
Yeah.
That's what they seem to
tout it in Japanese, though.
Yeah, like My Hero Academia, I don't think I could Like I've seen 5 episodes of that and that movie with Dave.
I'm big into Boku.
Oh, are you into Boku?
Boku no Hero Academia. Oh, sugoi.
Well, let me tell you, we've been watching Beastars.
Oh, I've not watched Beastars.
Don't watch Beastars. You might enjoy Beastars. I don't mean
Hannah
that as
doesn't
an
really like
insult.
anthropomorphic animals. It kind of creeps her out.
Oh, yeah, it's just creepy as hell. It's just like rabbit on wolf sex.
Oh,
We
Well,
we saw those thumbnails and we were just like, oh, this just looks like furry bait, but surely it's not that bad. Maybe there's a decent story in there. And no,
yes. There is not a good reason that the wolf wants to mac on with the rabbit.
No, the
Well,
rabbit
let me
wants the wolf. The wolf is resisting
Oh,
his
how the tables are
throbbing
turned.
biological urges.
let me tell you about Hollow Live.
Okay.
They are VTubers, virtual YouTubers
Yep.
that stream video games.
Mm-hmm.
They work for an idol organization
Yep.
called Hollow Live, and they're all very, very good. One of them surpassed $1 million in donations alone.
Wow.
Super chats, as they call it,
Yes.
on YouTube. They are. It is a rabbit hole that I tried to get Ollie down.
You did, and you
Almost succeeded.
minor
If Lauren
success?
wasn't here, what's that?
It was a minor success. I browsed.
They're
You
so
snapped and tried to
interesting.
block this out, and I just left the volume on low so she could just take it in a little bit subliminally.
They've just actually introduced like an dedicated English speaking one after they realized like all the English fans would just sort of flock whenever any of the Japanese ones would speak any remote English. But yeah, no. My favorite VTuber, Todd Howard. Thanks in the chat, guys. It just works. It just works.
If you throw him a super chat, you get a free copy of Skyrim.
I was listening to a podcast and someone said like if you are listening to my voice in the nearest vicinity, you probably own at least 3 copies of Skyrim.
It's true.
I also apologize if anyone can hear like a loud wind noise.
Okay.
My window attracts the wind. There is a sound being made, like a loud trumpet.
Oh.
That occurs only when windy. Anyway, no. So Bethesda now bought by Microsoft for $7.5 billion, which is technically buying ZeniMax Media, the parent company. But so Microsoft now owns
big franchises.
id.
Yep.
Arcane. Machine Gun Games.
Yes.
And many others.
And many other great companies.
Great companies. It grows the internal studios from 15 to 23. So I've been listening to podcasts just to sort of get like the gist of what the fuck like this actually means. So at the minute, Microsoft seems to be upholding like any deals previously made by Bethesda.
Yeah.
So they are technically publishing 2 PS5 exclusives in the next year.
Which is odd. Yeah, but
Deathloop and that other one.
Is it Ghostwire?
Yes.
Yeah.
So are they going to have Microsoft like plastered across the box on these PS4 exclusives?
I would assume it's a lot like Minecraft Dungeons on Switch or Ori on Switch, which is just Xbox Game Studios at the bottom on the logo.
I mean, even better, Xbox Game Studios on these PS4 timed exclusives. That's
PS5 timed exclusives.
PS5, yes. It just feels like a little bit of spite. It's like, yeah, you can have them, but we're going to advertise on them.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the thing, is like, obviously now these are first party Microsoft games. Like, all these games will eventually come to Game Pass.
I imagine so. Yeah.
So like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna spend $70 on Deathloop, or are you gonna wait a year and just get it for $10 a
I
month?
would presume the very second that timed exclusivity expires, you'll see those hitting Game Pass
So yeah, like Doom Eternal's coming to Game Pass.
in
Uh,
like a week.
Hell of a
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah, hell of a game.
Love me some Doom.
No pun
I
intended.
I
Hey.
held off on buying that, and I've been rewarded for
Exactly.
not spending money.
So I would suspect that, Starfield, the next Elder Scrolls game, will not come to PS5. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah,
But
and the first thing that came to mind for me with Elder Scrolls is I don't know if everyone kind of has forgotten about that Obsidian one that got announced. Was it Avowed or something like that?
Oh,
Which
the
yeah,
Xbox. Yeah.
which the Pillars of Eternity canon thing, which looked like they were trying to set that up as an Elder Scrolls type game, and I'm just wondering what the guys at Obsidian are just sitting there thinking, we got
Might
this
be
Elder
them.
Scrolls
Yeah.
competitor, and now they're just
Mm.
going to drop the real Elder Scrolls.
Well, the thing for Microsoft at the minute, and Microsoft's actual studios, is like, we need to fill Game Pass with stuff that's not, already released. It needs, like, Microsoft are very cash rich. They can just sort of greenlight anything they fucking want at this point, and they seem to be nurturing developers rather than, like, I bet it makes a lot of decisions within, like, the Bethesda circle. Like, I can't imagine, Wet 2 could be a potential thing. Rogue Warrior 2.
Please no.
Brink 2.
You're reaching, I feel.
We
Or,
now have
like, the logical things like a Prey 2 or a Dishonored 3 or whatever
Yeah.
are now like, it makes these decisions a lot easier if we know that people are actually going to play and subscribe and be a part of this service, handing money every month rather than buying it once and maybe never even touching it because it released on Steam.
Yeah.
we've also now got the general Fallout license and Obsidian under the same umbrella. So I don't know if we can speculate is the word
Yeah,
about anything New Vegas related, because I like
I don't know.
and I'd like some
I
more.
would like, In Exile are now also part of, like, who do Wasteland, and they're all original Fallout devs. So, like, the original Fallout 3 concept could be a thing that comes back, even though that's basically just Wasteland 2 and 3.
So what you're saying is that we're gonna get a lot of new Fallout 76 expansions.
Oh boy.
So Fallout 76 is obviously going to continue, but
Forever.
The theory going around is, like, Microsoft might take in like, I don't suspect Microsoft will start publishing will start publishing games to PS5, like, but the a theory that I've heard is, like, they might do a Steam with PS5.
Oh.
Which
Okay.
is put the games out at full whack, but then you feel cheated because it's like, well, I could have just got this for a tenner on Game Pass, and then you subscribe to Game Pass. And like, I think all three of these episodes we've spoken about Game Pass at some point.
Yeah.
And Game Pass is a ridiculous deal at the minute. Like, the selection of games on there is surprising, especially the PC one.
Microsoft's whole thing at the moment just feels like, join us and you'll never have to buy a game again.
Well, yeah, and like and that's kind of where Microsoft are one of the companies that has seen past hardware and now it's services. Like they're providing a service to you, regardless of where you are. Like in the next few years, you'll be playing probably the next Elder Scrolls game at 1080p, 60 frames a second over 5G
on your next gen Stadia.
Well, so this kind of leads us into another story outside of but bamboozling the internet slightly.
Okay.
Amazon re-entering the foray again.
Oh.
This is like the 15th or 16th time.
This is the one, guys.
This is the one. They've still got that MMO coming, which apparently is all right. From people who've played the alpha or beta or whatever was going around the other week.
Jeff Bezos sim.
Oh yeah, you two could be
basically Crusader Kings.
I mean, Jeff Bezos looks like a Crusader Kings 2 NPC.
Jeff Bezos looks like every NPC that has had no work put into it yet.
He looks like a WWE 2K creator wrestler before you've done anything
Just
to
the
him.
Blank slate, yeah.
Before you've slapped him with tribal tattoos and a giant pink afro.
Yep.
Yeah.
As is customary.
Just a matter of time, Jeff.
Yeah, so Amazon had their big hey, we're announcing a ton of stuff to spy on you event. Including a Ring drone. A drone that will fly around your house and with a little camera on for security reasons.
A surveillance drone.
Precisely.
Wow.
And that data goes back to Amazon at some point. They've announced Luna, which is a direct competitor to xCloud and Stadia.
Wow.
Runs a lot like Stadia does, but it's a lot cheaper as well.
Okay.
So it's not included with your Amazon Prime subscription, bearing in mind that is currently about £70 a year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is when it suddenly appears on your bank statement. But we'll be running a lot. So Stadia is you buy in with the controller and the Chromecast that's needed to run it. And then the controller connects via Wi-Fi over, and then sends any input straight to the servers, so that there's minimal as minimal latency as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
Luna runs pretty much the same way, except instead of buying the games individually, it sort of runs on a subscription fee of $7.99 with an entry fee at the minute of $59.99, $49.99. So like the games on like the list at the minute subscription fee are at the minute early access game library is Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, The Plague Tale, Innocence, Surge 2, Yooka-Laylee, and The Impossible Lair. Iconoclast, Grid, Abzu, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And at some point they'll be entering a partnership with Ubisoft to basically bring us Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Immortals: Phoenix Rising on release day.
Oh.
Don't Ubisoft already have the subscription? Ubisoft Now, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
I don't
presume
fucking
that's
know what
just going to
Ubisoft are
die.
doing. Fuck knows what Ubisoft are doing, Ollie. Like that company's on fire. We're going to talk about it in a minute, in a bit. It was supposed to be a positive, light on the current circumstances going on inside Ubisoft, but fuck me, never mind that. So yeah, and also the big thing about Luna is that they're touting it will run on iOS devices, which basically the way they're getting around this is that they're just going to run it in the fucking browser. which, you know, that's how Google does YouTube at the minute for iOS. So, you know, fuck me, I guess, because Apple refusing to budge on, like, well, technically people are spending money through your service and we're not seeing our 30% cut, which is why xCloud and Stadia can't come to the iOS. Yeah, no, so Luna is running a lot like Prime Video does. I don't know if either of you use Prime Video.
I have it. I use it very rarely.
I certainly leech off Lauren's subscription occasionally.
Yeah. So like Prime Video, like the actual app Prime Video, not like loading up your Fire Stick for the first time.
Yeah. No, I run it all through the PS4 at the moment.
Yeah, it runs those channels, so you can like subscribe to like the BFI, and Stars and whatever else is partnered with Amazon. Which so it seems like you'll have different channels that you want to subscribe to instead of just buying the games, and then it'll give you access to like the Ubisoft channel, where you can just load it up and you know, then you stop your subscription once you've finished Valhalla, or realize like 3 months in that you're still paying for Ubisoft.
So a little bit how you've got like the EA one on consoles right now.
Yeah,
like oh, you get to play a bunch of EA games.
Yeah, so like the Game Pass with EA, which is the basic. So it seems like a bit better of a deal than like the EA on Game Pass sort of thing, which is just the very basic stuff in the vault. Yeah, no. So GameSpot is saying like this is potentially why Microsoft partnered with Facebook Gaming instead of Twitch, because Amazon Luna is obviously going to have direct connectivity
Twitch
with
functionality.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, like that controller looks like a controller.
I might look it up because I have not actually heard of this until you mentioned it.
I've not seen this either. I'm gonna.
They literally just sort of like went, here you go, Amazon and here's a bunch of echoes.
That certainly is a controller. Oh, and there's the drone.
Yeah, the fucking drone.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that crashing into someone and then getting sued because oh, you tore up my dog's face because it bit the drone.
I mean, I like the controller because it's purple. That's actually a nice color scheme.
I think my dog would try and bite the drone. I don't think he would grasp that thing is in the sky.
Absolutely, your dog's dumb as shit, Ollie.
He's dumb as shit.
My dog's dumb as shit as well, but yours is on another level.
Sorry, it's only just tweaked for me. When you said ring drone, I didn't realize you literally meant the doorbell thing.
Yeah, it's literally the doorbell thing on a drone.
Just stuck inside a drone. Oh my god, that's so weird.
The drone, the DJI drone group that I'm still part of from when I was working at Scan on Facebook, we're questioning how it will be able to dock itself without, to charge itself.
Oh, it can actually land.
Because it's a 1/2-inch slot that it's got to connect into. So what's to stop it from like losing track of where the dock is and then just crashing and then you've lost it? And it's relatively small, so it's like, well, where the fuck is it? It's in the grass. Like, oh, a bird's flown off with it.
Well, then it's going to chase down the bird.
How strange.
Probably kill that bird. Eventually, birds will no longer function in this planet and just be replaced by Amazon drones.
Well, the controller just looks like a Switch Pro controller, really.
Yeah, but it's got those Twitch colors on it because I think Amazon are just leaning in with purple's our gaming color.
Yeah.
And I want to say like Microsoft. Oh, that was the other thing is with the Microsoft buying Bethesda is that it's got an ulterior, like a slight ulterior motive outside of like filling their collection with
big names.
all these big names and legendary games and stuff like that, is that they will be probably utilizing Bethesda's streaming service, that like streaming technology that they announced last E3. I can't remember what it's called. But they'll probably integrate that into xCloud, because at the minute xCloud only does 720/30, which is low, but considering like it's still in beta.
Well, it's like if they got the tech, they may as well use it.
But how many fucking streaming services are we up to now, and we're still not. The infrastructure is still not in place to like make sure that this actually fucking works.
But there's so much money to be made.
Like in America, it works. Yeah, like what? How much money is there to be made from services that barely work outside of like a few regions in America? Because like Stadia, xCloud, Luna. I'm sure there's like PlayStation Now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And those weird Capcom ones that run on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if the server's still running for those.
I don't even know what that is.
So in Japan on Switch, when they released Resident Evil 7, it's not actually running locally, it's streaming the game to you. To get around like, hey, the Switch can't run this.
It can't handle it.
Yeah, they did the same thing for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think.
They did, because they were already running tests for Stadia with that, so I think it's just leveraging that stream.
Interesting.
In other Todd Howard news, I was watching little bits and pieces of that interview with Major Nelson, Larry Herb. Still going, still doing his podcast. Big Larry. I mean, the other two that used to do the podcast with him are no longer there. I mean, I don't know if you ever listened to his podcast. Like,
not really. I was more kind of aware of who he was through the videos he did on like the original 360 dashboard and all that sort of thing.
The Inside Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of thing. So I think like his original team was like the original two people that he had doing the podcast was E, who now works for the Pokemon Company.
So they're going to say he's now in the WWE as Big E.
Big E, yes. he was just E back then.
he was just
he put on some meat.
He put on some meat and he started slapping it.
Yeah.
No, E has the best Xbox Live name of all time, which is just E. Because he used to be the security guy for basically everything.
That's prime real estate, that is.
It is.
People want that.
And Steptoe, who no longer is with us, who was like security at Microsoft for the longest time. But so he was interviewing Todd Howard.
Yeah.
In one of the worst sounding podcasts I've heard in a long time. Like, remote podcasting is hard.
I was going to say, I presume it was over Skype or something.
Yeah, probably. Or Microsoft Teams. Like, remote podcasting is hard. We're doing it right now. I think ours sounds better than theirs does, and they've got lots more money than we do. Todd Howard sounded like he was just recording it through his MacBook microphone. But no, they were talking about Morrowind on the original Xbox.
Oh yeah.
And how to manage memory, because they were like, well, we don't know how the fuck we're going to do this. Because that game's huge.
I did see a little bit of this, of Todd Howard talking about secretly rebooting your Xbox.
Yeah, so during loading screens, they would just dump.
Trick.
Yeah, they would dump like the loading screen, what the player saw.
Yeah.
And so why the loading times were like 5 minutes long is because the console was fucking rebooting in the background to to offload all the RAM memory that was stored at that point.
That's crazy. That's cool though. It's a cool little detail.
It just works.
Yeah.
It just works. I would love to sit down with like Todd Howard and just talk about like, okay, why didn't ladders work in Oblivion and Fallout. Because if you go back and look at those games, it wasn't until Skyrim that they managed to implement ladders.
It's a weird detail I've never noticed.
Yeah, no, in Oblivion, like everyone walks down ramps or stairs. There's no ladders in that game.
I think there might have been some that you can just interact with and appear
Yeah,
at the top.
but like none of the NPCs can walk up and down. Or like the metro in Fallout 3 is just the model for the metro with a naked body underneath.
What?
That runs very
me?
fast. So it's literally like, imagine like a Fallout 3 model, like of a human.
Yep.
Yeah.
That runs very, very fast with a metro on its head. And that's how they got the metro to look like it was moving very fast.
That's incredible. I'd love to see just the back end of these games, because they look busted enough when you're actually where you're supposed to be in them.
Exactly. Like Fallout 76, it seems like it's held together with like loose sellotape and hope.
Oh my god.
NPCs are falling off the map, but get the gaffer tape.
NPCs are in that game now after 2 years of it being on the market.
Yeah.
I wonder if people are happy with those bags that they finally got.
Oh man. And then they had the helmets, which had to like recall because they had like weird toxic spores in them or something. It's just one thing after the other with that game. Dare I say that with all of the Todd Howard based news in this episode, is this a Toddcast?
Oh, we could. I'm gonna have to kick you from the session.
Okay, I'll be. I'll see you guys later.
I'm
here all week.
I had a crave in my mouth.
Okay, we're all friends here.
What's the deal with Todd Howard?
What is the deal with Microsoft?
Wait, 7.5 billion?
I've never watched an episode of Seinfeld in my life.
It's pretty much that. And then TGS is happening.
Yes. Been keeping broadly aware of it.
I don't know. Like the things that they're talking about, is the most interesting stuff to come out of it is like, stuff that we already know about.
Like, yeah,
Microsoft had to come out in front of everybody and say like, there will be no news at this show from Microsoft, like nothing of interest to you.
Well, clearly that's a red herring, so we can still be disappointed.
Well, if you look at my graph, you can clearly see that Microsoft is gearing up to buy Sega, because they announced that blue Xbox Xbox Series X and S controller, which is the same hex code as Sonic.
It literally feels like the game's marketplace, I want to call it, is just becoming like the sports and football transfer market. I just need a bald guy in a suit with a big screen behind him saying, "Today Microsoft have been linked with a move for Sega. They're gearing up with a bid of £30 million."
Oh baby, it's draft weekend.
Vince McMahon's gonna get the tombola out. So I subscribe to the subreddit Games Leaks and Rumors, and it just highlights that like the video game industry has done a horrible job at educating like how video games are actually made and how business is actually done, and also like all the video games fans are super excited about these giant conglomerates becoming even larger with zero competition.
What do you mean? Phil Spencer just met Todd Howard in a back alley and just handed him several $billion.
Opened a suitcase. It shone gold in Todd Howard's eyes.
What are you buying?
Sent his goons over. He didn't even do this in person.
We're gonna break Fallout 76 again. No, we just got it working.
He sent in legs in his duffel bag.
Tight-lipped Larry, which is a funny name because he does the podcast. I won't say anything.
I could just imagine it's like a Microsoft's version of the Expendables. They just send in their crack team.
Who's even like outside of Phil Spencer and like the various marketing goons that appear at like every E3 to talk about interactive media in television. God, that was a bad E3.
That was the one with
trailer alone for that would be
what's his
fantastic.
name? It's the guy who went to Zynga after.
Don Matrick.
Don Matrick. Oh my
I was
god.
going to say Dolph Lundgren.
The opposite. Don Matrick was like watching like the worst Nintendo E3 conferences from 2008 and 2009 when Nintendo still treated them like conferences while everyone was moving to massive spectacles.
Shigeru just kind of wailing away at Wii Music.
Or the year that Skyward Sword came out and he told the crowd off because the Wii Motion Plus kept breaking. Can everyone please turn their mobile phones off? And it's like,
you're ruining everything.
Miyamoto,
you're ruining it.
How the fuck do you want us to report on this if I don't have my phone and laptop? No, like Nintendo for the like while Sony like Microsoft that same year, I think they brought out like Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr for Rock Band.
That.
Then like a few hours later, Nintendo had their conference where they had actual graphs and
hard numbers,
and my favorite thing ever, which was the three potential customers, like zones that like the three potential customers that they say, and this just angry lady saying like never.
Never gonna buy a Nintendo.
Never. I don't know. Like TGS is like nothing's been announced except movies.
So I've been keeping, as I say, vaguely aware of it, and the stuff because I mean, there's been a few different streams and whatever for Xbox and Capcom, which really, as you say, did not show anything new at all. The only real stuff that I'd say I've been excited to see from TGS so far has been from Sega. As you say, movies. There was a Yakuza movie that's been supposedly announced. But even on kind of the game side of things, there seems to be like a soft reboot of, well, not even soft, a reboot of some sorts for Virtua Fighter.
Yes, so I saw this promotional art, and I was like, and the headline attached to it was Sega reviving Virtua Fighter for a mysterious project, and it's like, it's going to be a fighting game.
Well, yeah, because I mean, they showed a bit of a trailer for it, and obviously there was nothing to show of a new game or anything. It was just the fact that, like, Virtua Fighter is a really technical fighting game that would make for a really good esport if we really put some money into it. So, Virtua Fighter cross esports, and it was just a load of esports stuff. So, that's probably going to be their focus going forward for that game, is they want to make it really esports focused.
Didn't Virtua Fighter 5 get like an extra second wind of life on
it was definitely played for a while. Yeah.
I remember because was it Dead or Alive that got that free
Dead or Alive, yeah, that did have kind of a bit of a second wind, yeah.
I got that free version that but I can like
also
Sega
on next gen, which I guess helped DOA out a lot, whereas Virtua Fighter's last entry was on the 360 and PS3.
Yeah, because I had that.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I was shit at it, but
they're fun fighting games. Just one of the things you just can't mash on them, which is nice.
Yes,
it punishes you for mashing.
It was an interesting experience going from like Super Smash Brothers to that.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the Yakuza movie adaptation. Hopefully this time, like they do it right.
Yeah,
because there is already that Yakuza movie that exists that does it horribly. I think it actually stars the actual voice actors
for Kiryu and so on.
Yeah, including a scene where Kiryu at the end drinks a health item. the Stamina X.
Nice.
To beat Nishiki.
Oh, yeah.
And then other movie news from TGS is that fucking Monster Hunter movie got an official synopsis.
Oh, did it?
Oh,
I've seen this.
no. I've been
This is
following this ever since I started playing Monster Hunter World. And I
written and
carry
directed
on.
by written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, most notably known for the Resident Evil movies. The film will also star his wife, Mila Jovovich, T.I. Harris, Megan Good, Diego Boneta, Josh Hellman, Jin Aoyang, and Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
How much do you want to bet Ron Perlman is in it at the start and the end, and that's it?
That's why he's at the end. It's more of like a featuring Ron Perlman.
So correct.
Or do you think it's more like? Hang on. Do you think it's more like? What Lawrence Fishburne in Predators?
Yeah,
where he just appears and then disappears.
That's it. But you're going on the promotional material, mate.
Yeah, you're going on everything because you're in this movie.
So what I've been hearing about this movie is that the Monster Hunter world is going to be some kind of parallel dimension that we can send the US Army into.
No. What?
Behind our world, there is another. A world of dangerous and powerful monsters that rule their domain with deadly ferocity. When Lieutenant Artemis, Mila Jovovich, and her elite unit are transported through a portal from our world to a new world, they are in for a shock of their lives. In their desperate attempt to get home, the brave lieutenant encounters a mysterious hunter, Tony Jaa, whose unique skills allow him to survive in this hostile land. Faced with relentless and terrifying attacks from the monsters, the warriors team up to fight back and find a way home.
Why can't you just... You don't have to modernize it in any way. Why can't you just make
I think I just simultaneously threw up in my mouth and shit my pants.
Oh, God.
You know it's good when the only interview they've really given about it is with Sci-Fi.
Produced by Asylum Movies.
Oh, that sounds dreadful. Why do you need to give it a modern spin?
Because how the fuck else are you supposed to get funding for that shit?
Oh.
We need a
I don't
soldier
know.
guy to do soldier stuff.
It's the same way.
Stuff.
It's the same way that fucking Sonic the Hedgehog movie probably got made, which was we can put him in the real world.
I never saw that.
No, neither have I. I've very little interest. Capcom also showed off Resident Evil 8, which I don't think they showed off much because
basically the same trailer.
Okay, that's fine. Monster Hunter pre-orders
for Rise.
Yeah.
Specifically for Rise, they had basically the same gameplay trailer as they showed on the Direct, but with some slightly different gameplay cut in, which is weird.
So that's the third time they've technically shown that trailer.
Just a little bit different.
On a live stream.
Yeah.
At least they didn't, show another live stream with that trailer in it already.
It looks kind of cool. The other thing I wanted to make mention of was they showed off, Sega, should I say, showed off a lot of gameplay for Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, new Genesis or whatever.
How does that look?
I think it looks cool. I've never really played PSO, but it looks like the kind of thing that I'd be having fun with. So yeah.
So I downloaded PSO2 via Steam when I got the Fat Pipes installed.
Oh yes.
Because that thing's 91 gigabytes. MMOs, baby.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I love that game to pieces. It's sort of lost its luster now that the adventure to actually get hold of it has been cut in half.
Yeah.
Having to sign in via a Japanese portal and look up like Japanese capture,
Yeah.
which is always fun, and having it time out, translating it via fan patches, and some of it's not translated because it's not important to the game. So you've got sometimes like full Japanese, all the English speaking players gathering on one server, and it always being full. No, I'm relatively excited, like, for a refreshed version to jump into, because that game, I love it to pieces, does not hold up.
Yeah.
The game bit does, that's fine, but also not fine because the field of view makes me feel a bit ill. You can't pull it back any further than it already is.
But yeah, there's a lot of gameplay out there for the new one, so maybe
I will give that a look. I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah.
This is how bad this sort of stuff is at the minute, with all this news happening all at once. Everyone just seems to be fighting for air.
Yeah. And who knows what's even going to happen today, because TGS is still going.
It's still going. There's a schedule out there, but I wouldn't count on anything big happening.
Yeah.
I say this as someone who this time last week said, nothing big will happen in the next week. Konami finally just blinked and put out those Metal Gear games on Good Old Games. So this week has been like slight rumor mill for Konami. Apparently, like a rumor going around that Metal Gear Solid will be coming to the PS5 as a remake.
Oh, what, the first one?
Yeah,
Ooh.
And immediately debunked.
Oh,
like
I was interested for all of 2 seconds.
So was I, and then it was just like, and someone said like, "Fucking who the fuck is this guy?" It's like he's saying like, it's like, okay, let's go through his sources. He heard a guy on YouTube say that like he knows a guy that knows a guy who says it's coming.
His dad works at Konami.
He works in the Love Hotels and heard the executives talking about it while cleaning the bins. Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2, which is a weird selection of Metal Gear games to bring to the PC.
Yeah, you mentioned it before we started recording, and as soon as you said Metal Gear, I was like, "Oh, is it like Solid 1, 2, and 3?" And you were like, "No, Metal Gear, and then Metal Gear Solid 1." And I was like, "Oh."
It's not even like Metal Gear 2,
No.
Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2, which Super Bunny Hop mentioned on Twitter. Like,
he's a good YouTuber.
He said like it's a weird choice to not include Metal Gear 2 because it's the perfect demake in the modern context of Metal Gear Solid, because it is just a one-to-one. Metal Gear Solid is basically an almost one-to-one remake of 2. Like that. I would not recommend buying these ports until the PC community has got their hands and ripped them apart, because they're the original PC ports, which weren't good at launch.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a few different versions of the original Metal Gear, isn't there? Anyway, I presume this is the
is the
MSX one.
Yeah, which if you're listening, I would just recommend like digging up your 360 or Xbox One or PS3 and just slot and buying the HD collection. If you want to play those games, because they're included with Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh, nice.
In the menus. Like the Metal Gear Solid port originally like was missing like voice acting and whole swaths of like sounds, so it was just this weird silent. Metal Gear Solid 2 apparently still has like the vector graphics in it for the game over screen, so it doesn't matter what resolution you're at, you'll always see like this high quality game over screen. I don't know what, like, I don't even know what Konami is anymore, because they put out that they're putting out Pro Evolution Soccer 2021,
I guess.
and apparently it's literally like, you know, when people say like, "Oh, it's FIFA's just a roster update." PES 2021 is literally just going to be a roster update.
Trying to get that.
Yeah, so I thought PES was kind of just leaning into the service model where they were just gonna, I don't know if they were gonna stop releasing titles and just update.
Like, this is the thing, like, no one really knows who's even working on that team anymore. It's like, it could literally just be a skeleton crew inside, and they've been moved off to different projects. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, Konami's weird enough as it is. There's also the Konami Collector's Series, which includes fuck, that is a terrible graphic. Oh my god. Castlevania, nice. Castlevania 2, Castlevania 3, Contra, and Super C.
That's alright. It's a pretty okay collection.
It's an alright collection, but
could do without Castlevania 2.
Well, everyone can, but you know, just remember to stand at the wall and the tornado will whisk you away.
Speaking of Metal Gear Solid, that is one of the... I know we spoke about Final Fantasy before with Ollie as a franchise he's never really played, and he feels guilty that he's not played it. I've never really touched Metal Gear Solid.
Well, Jacob, you're talking to the foremost Metal Gear Solid fan.
I know.
Don't worry, Jacob, I'm guilty there too.
Jacob, you've still got your Xbox, don't you?
My
Xbox
360? One? No, I've not got my Xbox One, no.
Oh, then I
think
don't know.
I played, was it Ground Zeroes? The basically demo?
Look, that game is not...
I got that
game,
free.
That game is the longest fucking demo of all time if you know what to do. I put at least 15 hours into that. At least. And that was the week before Metal Gear Solid 5 came out.
Joel, you mock me for the time I spend in the opening levels of various large games.
Yes, but Ollie, the Metal Gear Ground Zeroes had like tons of different missions to do. Like it was basically a huge taster of what Metal Gear Solid 5 would bring, and then it did bring everything that I tasted.
Yeah, and you know what, Joel? White Orchard has lovely violin music, so
yeah, but has like five quest lines. That's it. You better move on. You better move on. Ground Zeroes is like, no, master this space. Become become Naked Snake. Become Big Boss.
I think you'll find I became the Orchard.
Well, fuck you. Did you see that the Snyder cut of Justice League?
Yeah.
I know it exists.
Is getting reshoots.
What? For a movie several years old?
They're shooting new content for it because I think they're changing it to a series rather than like a whole movie. I don't fucking know.
Are you sure they
I really hope that Sorry, Jacob.
So, because obviously we still had Batfleck at that point. Obviously, it's not going to include him.
It won't include Henry Cavill either because Henry Cavill is too busy with The Witcher.
Right.
See, I was really hoping he would regrow his mustache just so it could be CGI'd out again.
Basically, what they're saying is we could get Cyborg and maybe the Flash.
And also Wonder Woman, because
why don't we just entirely CGI Henry Cavill?
Well, Batfleck is we've got the mustache. We'll just CGI in Henry Cavill.
Spread it over.
Unless it'll be the first like use of Hollywood deepfakes. Like I don't know. They've got the 3D models for those guys somewhere, so can't be that difficult.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That sounds like a bad idea to start with. Like, you can't make that movie good in any capacity, so why even bother?
But there are still these people that think that this movie was always good. The Snyder Cut will save it.
Yeah.
And I need this thing to release to show those people that they're wrong.
These people are worse than the Alien 3 fans.
Apologists.
Which that film was not good, and then the director's cut came out, and it was still not good. But like, at least Alien 3 fans are dwindling because they got old and maybe don't use the internet in the same
I thought you were
capacity.
just
Not
going to
what I
say they
thought you meant.
started dying. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
that's
that's potentially happened. I don't fucking know. Yeah. Oh, fuck it.
wasn't aware of
Fuck
that.
Zack Snyder. Like, I know why he had to leave that movie and stuff like that, but he's made no good movies since 300. So,
No, really.
Anyway, should we before we finish with like some like slightly good news? Should we talk about Michel Ancel? Michel Ancel.
Yes, do it.
So he announced last week, or no, this week. Wait, what week are we in? I don't fucking. He announced in the last few days that he was retiring. Basically, he was going to go work with animals.
Yeah.
Michel Ancel is the creator of Rayman, Beyond Good and Evil 2, etc. Was working on Beyond. Was working on. No, he was creator of Beyond Good and Evil. He's working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. Wild. That Sony game that was shown a few years ago and has never cropped up since. And it might like the reasoning. So, Liberation, which is a French newspaper magazine.
Love the accent.
Yeah, that thanks. I was practicing in the mirror. They've basically been reporting on Ubisoft's shitness for the last few months. They're the reason for like the huge wave of changes within Ubisoft. He's Guillermo.
He's
like finally maybe cracking down on his employees rather than treating them like family and shoveling it under the rug. Multiple sexual assault and sexual harassment and abuse cases, multiple like management abuse cases. The guy who was the creative director for Assassin's Creed Valhalla stepped down. The main guy who is basically like the thumbs up, thumbs down guy for the entirety of Ubisoft has now left or has been, put out to pasture. He's also basically the guy that was the reasoning for a lack of female representation in Ubisoft games. And also the reason for towers and open worlds becoming their entire MO. Because like we need to keep users engaged. Just make it an open world game with a man and some towers and some collectibles.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll do. So Michel Ancel retired to go work with animals, and it might be because he was under investigation for managerial abuse, basically.
Shit, yeah.
Nothing has come out so far about anything to do with sexual assault or sexual harassment or anything along those lines.
Just being
it just seems to
manager by the sounds of it.
It sounds like a guy that was I don't know how to put it. Like a creative with carte blanche is not something you always want. And it sounds like like Beyond Good and Evil 2 is in the state that it's in because of him. So he would come in, undo tons of decisions that were already in the works, months of work, and just toss them aside. Like the game is only now coming out of pre-production.
Wow.
It's been in development for like 7 years, the better part of a decade. Like that trailer that was shown at that E3 doesn't fucking exist. Like the tech yeah, like it was handcrafted. There's none of it's actually like it's in engine, but it's not the game.
Yeah.
it's very much a Duke Nukem Forever 2001 trailer situation. Of like, we built this for this, and that's it. Like, weeks or months of work have regularly swept away in seconds. He's able to explain to you why you're a genius, your idea is great, and then disassemble you in meetings by saying you're a piece of shit, that your work's worthless, and not to talk to you for a month. He's someone who has a creative process that is based on erosion of his vision, and erosion of the people around him. So basically, he was getting very, very worried that the game was no longer his because of the amount of people working on it. Like, going from Rayman to Beyond Good and Evil is a jump of nearly 250 people.
Yeah.
Across the world. Like, I don't suspect that studio housed 250 people. I bet the main people were in France, and like the rest of, Ubisoft studios dotted around the world. He would, like, the main thing here is just like lots of burnout, depression, asks for transfers, resignations. The what's this? At the beginning of 2019, after taking note of the impasse in which the project had reached after 6 years of development, the CEO and Serge Hascoe arrived in Montpellier ready to kill Beyond Good and Evil 2. The team won a 1-year reprieve, conditional on the delivery of a first playable sequence supposed to give, on a citywide scale, a glimpse of the finished game. Ancel more or less disappears from the traffic, and his voice is only heard through the IP, intellectual property team, in charge of establishing the universe in the broadest sense of the term. Basically, they and multimedia declinations, notably a film for Netflix. Basically, they set up a board, like a board of people to
filter his
and then it also turns out the board of people were also as useless as he was because they couldn't come to any like decisions. Too long did not read. This is from some guy on Reset Era has translated this article because it's fairly long. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was already in development for more than 7 years in the making. Beyond Good and Evil 2 had been more than 7 years in the making and is only coming out of pre-production. Ancel was working part-time on the project as an outside contractor and would knit and unknit the team's work at will. Because of that, the upper management set an 18-man organization around him to limit his impact on the teams, but said organization ended up being equally dysfunctional. This sounds like the most French fucking thing on the planet. Like, it you can't deny that Ancel is like very important to the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it seems like the Ubisoft attitude of, let the creatives be creatives, and the management that's been there for years, they have their ways and they will do it their ways, and if people can't cope, then fuck them. It seems like, I don't fucking know, like, there's bits in here where like Ancel was meant to show up like 2 days a week, ended up showing up for like half an hour every now and then. Going off to work on Wild, which was a direct competitor because that's Sony funded.
Oh shit, yeah.
And so he's just basically left both teams. But like Beyond Good and Evil 2, from what I've seen, like hopefully, like, from what the public has seen at least, there's that tech demo, and like hopefully this means that the team can move on properly, and actually start putting that game together without
having things get swept away.
Like the fact that they were relying on a guy that was not there to put their stamp of approval, to put his stamp of approval on stuff, and then he would just come in after like the approval had been made and say like, let's take it all out. I don't fucking know. Like, those Rayman games, you really like them.
Oh, I love Rayman. Yeah, every year when Ubisoft do their conference, I'm like, maybe this is the year they announce a new Rayman.
Except it's always Rabbids.
They never do.
And I'm always
Rayman
happy.
And F-Zero are the two. Like, please, this year. It's still You guys have had this many times from me, but it still blows my mind that we've never had an F-Zero game on a HD console. With how good F-Zero GX looks on the GameCube, I'm like, come on.
Jacob, I don't wanna spoil the fun, but as much as it would be great, it didn't work for Sony. Nintendo probably looked at Wipeout and that studio getting shut down after nearly 2 decades and went, shit, I guess these don't fucking sell.
I liked Wipeout as well.
Everyone likes Wipeout, but
because it was the nearest I could get.
everyone likes Wipeout, but like that studio no longer exists. I would do a free-to-play F-Zero game.
Sure.
Get everyone in HD the shit out of that. You know, cosmetics, microtransactions, Rocket League it.
Buy the characters you want, yeah.
So everyone would just be Captain Falcon then.
Yes, because no one would want to pay real money.
No, like, what's that?
No, I'll tell you what I can get at this point.
And then in more positive news, the Among Us 2 team seems to be doing gangbusters. So they've decided to cancel Among Us 2.
Oh.
And just focus on Among Us 1.
Kind of expand the original game.
Because, you know, why ruin a good thing? So it's... I didn't know, like, this game's free on mobile, which is probably why it's taken off with, like, you know, my sister's friends and stuff, because they only have to sit through an advert to get to the next round and stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of my cosplay buds play it. It's personally not really something I feel like I'm massively interested in, but
like these types of games, I'm never too like the ones that always take off. I'm always like, it looks cool, but I don't think I want to play it because I have to play with other people.
Yeah.
Like my sister always seems to have a worse time when she's playing with strangers than she is with her friends. So seeing that type of reaction, I'm just sort of like, no.
I'll play
no thanks.
That makes me feel good instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I didn't even know they were working on a sequel. So
yeah, I think they announced it as like, you know, I think they announced it basically like as soon as Among Us 1 sort of took off, and they were just like, we're working on Among Us 2.
2 years old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I thought it was like a fairly...
No, Among Us has been out for
I'm pretty sure it's 2018, and then suddenly it took off because the streamers latched on.
Oh, okay. That... Right.
So I don't know how long they've been working on this sequel to suddenly say, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. But
because I presume everything they've already worked on will just be implemented.
Yeah, probably adapt it sort of thing.
So I was actually reading like their blog about it, and it's a very difficult choice for them to make because Among Us 1 has an old code base, which they haven't really touched. Like that game was done, and they put it out there, and that was it. And Among Us 2 would fix a lot of the issues. So now they've basically got to go in and redo the entire code base,
unpick some things,
and fix, you know, make sure that it's workable, so that they're not breaking stuff in the future. But no, good for them.
Yeah, no, fair one.
Should we talk about the games that we have been playing?
Yeah.
Before we close out this show.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah.
What games have you been playing?
Oh, well, it's very similar to last week. So, as you guys have seen in the group chat, I'll throw out the quick one first. Played a little bit more Battlegrounds.
How's that going?
As the time's gone on, because I mean, I remember my verdict on it was like, yeah, it's pretty good fun. A lot of reviews came out for it since then that I've seen, and people are hating it, and I'm like, I mean, it's not. I don't hate it, but I'm starting to notice that it gets quite samey after a while.
Right. Okay. So it's.
I was hoping that you bring this game up just so I could mention that about half an hour ago, while Joel was on a tirade, I scrolled through Twitter to find a video of Jeff Hardy being fed to an alligator.
Yes, that happens.
And
Yeah, that was in the first
Please
trailer.
explain it.
So for the stages that aren't kind of wrestling, existing wrestling arena stages, they're kind of based on different cities and stuff. So you've got the New York stage, which is like a subway, and Florida, which is kind of in a swamp, like a Florida swamp. And just in kind of past the crowd barricades, there's alligators you can chuck your opponents to that just kind of chomp your guy up and spit him back out. And that's where Billy Huggins comes in, who's the second original character, the second OP for 2K Battlegrounds, after I relinquished control of New York cyclist Bolo Reynolds. And that's kind of one of my main disappointments with it, is because you'll unlock most of the stuff through playing the campaign mode, but in the campaign mode you don't get to play as any real wrestlers. You have to play as these like really random original characters that they've made up. So, yeah, Billy Huggins now, alligator wrestler part-time.
I'm really hoping that Jacob will just play a little bit of this each week, and then every time we talk, we'll find out about a new NPC.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of skipped ahead a little bit because you can look as far as you want into kind of the events on the career, and I've seen that at some point you end up actually fighting Bolo Reynolds, the monster that I created.
What?
You end up,
Wait, so
you end up
I
fighting
said
characters.
NPC, so you play as these guys. These are
Yeah, you don't play as actual wrestlers. You play as Bolo Reynolds to begin with when you're doing the New York section of the campaign. And you move on to Florida, where you
whose
then
fucking idea was this?
Huggins. But I've seen that in future territories, I can't remember what it is.
We gotta make new stars, damn it!
Bolo Reynolds is someone that you fight. So it's like, yeah, it's the guy who played us at the start. Crazy. I'll persevere with it just for the meme value. But
I
yeah,
presume
mean-
that the idea is to go down the TNA suicide route, and we will soon see these guys in the Thunderdome.
of course. Yeah,
The real Billy Huggins to be revealed as a member of Retribution.
I was going to say the newest gimmick that Vince Russo has for Billy Gunn is Billy Huggins.
Oh fuck! Those Retribution goons look so dumb.
Yeah, I'm
Mace,
really.
They got some Twitter game though.
They do. They're quite funny.
T-bar,
T-bar, Slapjack.
Slapjack means fucking.
It's just mean beating off.
They're not even trying to hide their identities either. Like, is Slapjack Shane Thorne?
Thorne, yeah.
He's just changed his Twitter name to crossed out Shane Thorne Slapjack.
I am now Slapjack.
Oh, it's so dumb.
So yeah, that's Battlegrounds. My kind of enjoyment levels have dipped slightly, but it's still a funny game, if one that is a bit kind of mind numbing to play at this point.
I still think the strangest thing I've seen come out of that game is the trailer with the Undertaker.
Yeah, him and his family
playing the game, like
just this Mark Calloway, just being Mark Calloway.
This new era of racist dad Undertaker is my favorite, because it's just like, this guy's a fucking goon. Like, he's an absolute weapon in real life,
like everyone else.
Yeah, he's just a 50-something-year-old dude that no longer has to dye his hair black.
Yeah.
So now he's gone full ginger.
Do you want me to keep going with what I've been playing, or do we want to cycle?
Yeah, no, please tell me about Danganronpas.
Okay, yeah. So Danganronpa is one of the other two main things I've been playing. I ended up getting it on sale on PS4 about a week or two ago. I got all three games for about 21 quid, something like that. For those who don't know what Danganronpa is, it's a visual novel-y style game where you and 14 other students end up basically getting held hostage in this school by this violent little teddy bear headmaster who basically insists that you're going to live there forever and the only way that you can get out of the school is if you kill one of the other students and get away with it.
Oh.
It becomes kind of a someone ends up dying at some point. Obviously, someone ends up breaking because Teddy Bear ends up kind of showing the students like, oh yeah, by the way, I've like got to your families as well, so you probably want to get out and save them. So he's given them the motive. Someone ends up breaking eventually, and then it's a case of kind of investigating the murder, and then the final stage of that is having the class trial where everyone kind of debates the whole thing, and the class as a whole ends up picking who they think it was. And if the class get it right, then the person who did the murder ends up getting executed. Whereas if the class get it wrong, then everyone but the murderer dies, and the murderer gets to leave the school. So
Oh.
it's an interesting kind of premise. It gets really intense, and I think one of the nice things about it is they flesh out the characters enough and give them enough of a personality to where you're like, no, surely they won't die. They've kind of put too much effort into this character to make sure they won't die. And yeah, everyone's pretty much expendable at this point.
I
It's really cool. I'm really enjoying it.
So I knew about the teddy bear and like the visual novel aspects
Mm,
of it, and it was kind of that anime grim
yeah,
of like,
it's all about despair. Despair is the operative word that they like using.
yeah, like I can imagine if it was ever, is there an anime of it? I
There is
don't.
an anime adaptation of the first game, yeah, which
Uh,
a lot of people are like, it's good, but obviously it's nowhere near as complete as the game.
yeah, like I can imagine like the animation of one of the characters holding his hands and his eyes getting really big and doing like the shaky little, like his eyes get really small,
Mm,
the pupils,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they start shaking violently um
yeah. It's
as he screams or something.
it's pretty cool. I will admit, it's a bit strange to get used to both visually and control wise because you do kind of walk around the school and talk to people and so on. It was originally a Vita game that's been kind of
Yes.
thrown onto the PS4. It's one and two come together as a collection, and then number three is its own thing. So I think maybe number three, I don't know if that was made for consoles in mind, whereas one and two were not. Um, but yeah, so it takes a bit kind of getting used to in terms of getting around the school and things like that.
Are
But
you gonna be playing all three like one after the other and then go back and try and get like the best endings,
maybe
or are you gonna just do multiple runs of the same game?
I'll kind of do them all sequentially first. Because I initially started playing it kind of on my own, and then I was like, oh no, this is something that Hannah might enjoy actually as well. So we started fresh a couple of nights ago with Hannah playing as well, and she's like super into it. So I think she's going to want to keep going. Like every night, it's been like, can we play more Danganronpa? Where I'm like, I just want to play Mario Sunshine though. So yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it though, and yeah, I would thoroughly recommend it so far. Also, final point, um, both me and Hannah, we're at the point where three characters have died so far,
Oh.
and from the outset, me and Hannah were like, I like this one and I like this one, and they're two of the three people that died. So Hannah picked them.
Before we talk about more
Yeah.
Marios, Ollie,
Yeah.
tell me about your excursions in Crusader Kings 3.
So before I go on my Crusader Kings tirade, I have been playing a lot of Hades, and
Oh, right, yes.
I will get into Hades, but I just want to point out that managed to find this fine balance where Lauren will play Crusader Kings. At the end of our day, we'll both be in bed. She'll play Crusader Kings. I'll sit on my Switch playing Hades, and I will direct her. So, so I am managing to multitask these games, but I'll get this Crusader Kings shit out of the way first because we learnt yesterday just how much you can fuck up in that game.
I say
Uh,
we were talking about despair before with Danganronpa. This sounded like
yeah,
peak
I think we need to put like a trigger warning at the start of this because it was just god awful. So we'd been running a little campaign as the king of Astoria, which is like northwestern Spain, kind of near
Mm-hmm.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Um, we had the target of actually forming Portugal. We'd set ourselves like a 20-year goal. We were going to wait for our son to grow up. He was going to inherit Portugal. It was all going great. We'd played quite a long day of this.
Mhm.
We went back on it yesterday. Actually, before that, we did get off to a poor start because we found what we thought was the perfect wife. We got her pregnant. So we just wanted to make really beautiful children because we picked this guy because he looked like a fucking superhero. He was like 6'5", hench as fuck, had a beautiful beard, long hair.
So basically,
So
Roman
yeah, it was Spanish Roman reigns. And we found a beautiful wife in the neighboring country of Navarra. So we married her. We got an alliance out of it. We knocked her up. We were going to get ourselves an heir, and then she died in childbirth, and the child died with her.
Oh god.
Oh.
Yeah, and so we pushed on. We found a new wife the next day.
You just kind of brush your hands a bit. What a bloody waste of time.
we,
Fruitless endeavor.
we got a slightly less attractive wife, but she was very fertile. So pushing forward, she popped us out 5 kids.
True.
So we had our heir all lined up. We had our second born son, Adelfonses. We
Are you naming the kid?
So you get a choice of names. The child will be born, and it will be like, I want to give her a name based on my religion, like a good Catholic name, or
Okay.
a traditional Portuguese name, or something like that. So and then you could just kind of randomize the names from there. But we ended up with Adelfonses.
Nice.
We had our firstborn Lorien Adolfonses, who was going to be king of Portugal, but we'll get to that. So we started. We were going to try expanding our empire. We started taking counties because at this point Spain hasn't been formed yet. It's still a sultanate. So we were just kind of picking off counties, trying to build a bit of control before we can essentially commit genocide and wipe out this sultanate. We sold our daughter off to, I say sold, we betrothed our daughter off to the Prince of Italy because that got us a pretty strong ally. So we had Italy on our side. So then we thought we can go to war with the Sultanate, call in Italy, because we're a pretty small country. Italy called us to war because I believe they were at war with Croatia.
Okay.
And we thought, Italy are much more powerful than Croatia. We will agree to join their war to keep them happy and keep the alliance going. But we won't get involved because they'll probably win it fairly quickly anyway, and we don't want to lose any of our army. The war went on for about 5 years, and eventually the King of Italy got in touch, called us a coward,
What?
demanded that if we did not actually contribute to their war within the next year, then our alliance will be broken
Oh.
and we will lose the betrothal. What we didn't realize is that they were already over in Croatia. There's a fair distance between Spain and Croatia, so we tried to march our armies there, which took longer than a year.
Oh.
So our army was now stranded in Croatia. We'd lost our alliance with Italy. And then the Sultanate invaded our country while our army was away.
Oh god.
So everything was going pretty wrong. We thought we'll try and win Italy's favor back because we can't win this war with the Sultanate without the alliance. So we tried to finish off their war in Croatia. A lot of our council died. We ended up with like teenagers in our small council.
Yeah.
But the war was won, and as a bonus, the King of Italy was killed in the war.
Oh well, that's so a positive out of all of this.
So, sort of. So the King of Italy was killed. The prince became the king. He didn't hate us. We'd not betrayed him, although the betrothal had been broken. We managed to re-betroth him to our daughter and get the alliance back.
Nice.
They beat Croatia. All was well. We got back home, called Italy to war with the Sultanate. Didn't go well. We had to surrender. We lost part of our kingdom. But it's okay. We're there. We've got our alliance. We're going to rebuild. So the little kingdom of Navarra, which was where our late wife was from, after she perished in childbirth, we lost that alliance. So we thought we're just going to invade because they're a small kingdom, and we can add this to our realm, and then we can have a bit more, just a little bit more to take on the Sultanate when we want to get the territory back that they took.
Mhm.
This is where things went horribly wrong because we realized they had a significantly smaller army than us, but the armies also have like a quality level, so they have elite, good,
Mhm.
superior, etc. And their army was a lot stronger than ours.
They're like
So
the
we tried to
unstoppable
take on,
drones.
yeah, exactly. We tried to take on this tiny little country, and it wasn't going well. We lost the battle. So this game also has a stress level, so you kind of have to role play your character's traits, because if you go against those traits, you gain stress and you can have a mental breakdown. So
Wow.
our character was quite lustful, was one of his traits. So we
Ooh.
thought we need to blow off some of this stress. We'll go to the brothel. We spent a bit of time in the brothel. Immediately got an STD. we had boils on our nether regions.
Oh no.
Because we were still only, I think we were 35 at this point, quite frequently trying to reproduce with our wife, because we just wanted to pop out as many potential heirs as possible. So it spread to her. It then spread from our family jewels to the rest of our body and became the Great Pox, which
God.
started to ravage our region. Meanwhile, we're still at war with Navarra. So Italy were finally arriving to help us, so we thought we'll go back. We can take them on now. In this battle, we got maimed. We lost a leg and an eye. so now we have the Great Pox. We're one-legged. We're
One eye.
missing an eye. We're disfigured and have to wear a mask. But we had this heir, Lorien, who was shaping up to be quite a strong character. So you can assign your children to another character to educate them, and they will inherit some of their stats. So Lorien was looking good. Oh, and if you die, you continue on as your heir.
Right.
So we thought everything is fucked. We're losing the war. We're disfigured. We've lost everything. We have the pox. We're gonna commit suicide.
You're gonna inherit the
Because
spirit of Orion.
there is a commit suicide option, so it gave us an option of how we were going to do this. We could either jump off a very tall building, drink a poison tea, or just go to the bathtub with a knife.
Oh God.
so we chose the tall building because, how can that fail? Um,
One-legged man
we,
jumping off a building.
we got to the top of this building, and we've apparently got a strong friendship with the new king of Italy, because he followed us up there and tried to convince us not to jump, and told us essentially that if we jumped, the alliance would be broken.
Blackmailing you into staying alive.
So that wouldn't set up Lorien too well to take over, because he would be taking over as a 12-year-old with no alliances. But we jumped anyway. And of course, we couldn't even do that right, because the fall didn't kill us. and then the rest of our allies just lost all respect for us because we were suicidal and plague-ridden. So we tried to continue with this war, and then immediately died in battle.
Oh
So,
my God.
so after that, Lorien took over with no alliances and nothing. Everything was completely fucked, and at that point, we turned off the game.
Oh, that's enough Crusader Kings for one night.
Because,
I have a tear in my eye of just how fucked you managed to make that.
Comedy of errors.
that all occurred in the space of about an hour of play. We
Oh
just
my God.
lost everything, and I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
you
save
know.
is going to be buried, and we'll pick someone else, someone less handsome. But that's Crusader Kings.
Wow.
Well, hopefully we'll get another update at some point from the world of Crusader Kings 3.
I'm sure you will.
As Ollie and Lauren spend a romantic evening together trying to kill a person, ruining their entire lives.
Ruining an entire country.
Oh, shit.
But no, Hades.
Let's talk about Hades. So I have been playing this since it came to Steam in early access because it was on the Epic Game Store for a long time, and then it was on sale, so I got it as it was relatively, it was in its final throes of early access.
Yeah, you've been hyping this up for some time.
Yeah. So like all the pieces were there. It was just like the ending wasn't, which I've still not seen. But I've beaten the game 3 times in early access, but never seen the ending in with the 1.0. So you've got it on Switch.
Yeah, I waited for the Switch release because I thought this is the kind of game that I'm just gonna want to pick up handheld and do a few runs of, and it runs pretty well on Switch. You get obviously that game gets pretty hectic. There's a lot on screen. You get
I would assume that at some point like the game starts to hitch up as it gets a little bit more intense.
Yeah, but it's nothing. It never makes it unplayable. You get a brief drop for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. You don't notice it too much.
So Hades is you play Zagreus, the son of Hades, who is trying to leave Hades. He's trying to leave the underworld. He's done. But he just seems to like be given carte blanche to do so until a certain point. Because Hades is pretty sure he will never leave.
Yeah.
And so, all of the Olympians are trying to help him by sending little power ups and stuff like that down to the underworld.
There is a crazy amount of dialogue in this game.
So yeah, it is a run-based roguelite light game, which is, I said in my review, like there are tons of these, but this is the only one that seems to reward you with narrative, and story beats and character development. Like, I love Dusa a lot. The
little Slimer fella.
The little Medusa head.
Is that what she is?
Yeah, she's a little Medusa head.
Just a little green thing.
Because there's a Medusa, there's Medusa enemies, and there's a conversation that you can have with her where like Zag will basically apologize for killing her potential relatives, and she explains away like no, it doesn't matter, they're all brain dead anyway, it doesn't matter.
So I've only got as far as Elysium. I've only beaten the first 2 bosses. I've done about 20 runs. I've spent a lot of time just figuring out which weapon is for me. I was originally just taking, because each run, depending on which weapon you pick, one will have kind of a darkness bonus, which is like one of your currencies, one of your many currencies.
Yeah, so I started ignoring that and just basically going with what I felt, because it would always end up being on the 2 ranged weapons, the bow and the gun.
So I don't have the gun yet. I am up to I have the fists, and that was the last one I unlocked. I didn't even know the next one was a gun.
Yeah, so there's a gun. It plays similar to the bow and arrow, except you like plant it in place.
Okay.
I don't like any of the ranged combat in that game at all.
So you said this, and I've gone the complete opposite direction. I've stuck almost exclusively to the bow, spear, and shield. And
so even with the so the spear has like that long ranged attack, which is fine, but like with the spear and the shield, I will almost always either like with the shield I'll try and find the boon, hope for the boon that one of them allows you to basically get rid of the throw and replace it with something else.
See, I would say the shield is probably my favorite weapon, but I almost exclusively use the throw.
See,
I
hammer the. So I've unlocked up to 3 dashes, so I'm basically dashing and pressing the main attack button. So I'm basically skidding around, slicing into people with the shield, and then dashing away almost immediately. Like I'm pressing X and A at the same time, and just watching Zag bounce around like a ping pong ball.
So I tend to go for the boons that, inflict extra range damage. You can get the Zeus boon where the ranged attack will call down a lightning bolt as well, and there's also some which will increase the amount of enemies that the shield will bounce off of before it returns to you. So I just run away and just launch my shield. I just Captain America this shit. And then
I can see that working for the final Elysium bosses.
I don't think I've reached. Who is the Elysium boss? I'm not sure I've reached them yet.
So there's 2 phases to it, split over like 2 very there's the Minotaur.
Right, yeah, I've definitely not reached this then.
And then he partners with another dude. So basically, it's Elysium's like heaven. I want to say
it's like the gardens.
Yeah,
like some kind of.
But like all the boss fights sort of take place in like an arena sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the first round with the Minotaur, he'll basically scarper off. And then you'll tag team up with someone else. And I hate that second boss fight in Elysium with a passion because there's no way to practice against the other dude. Like the Minotaur, I've got his patterns down. That's fine. But you've also got to contend with this other dude who has some of the most annoying sequences. And I can't get them down for the life of me. So I am always wasting all the extra lives that you can get.
Yeah, I've just been trying to hoard up my darkness so I can increase the defy death. I think I've got 2 at the moment because that's gonna be the most helpful thing going forward.
So I'll always start with Skelly's tooth, which gives you an extra 1. So I'm for the first majority of that run, I'm always running around with Skelly's tooth.
Yeah, so you
until
get
I reach a certain
items
point
that the NPCs will give to you if you give them a gift. So you can find the gifts throughout the run, and then you can give them to virtually anyone, including
any of the talkable characters, basically.
Yeah, so about the first 5 gifts I got, I gave them all to Cerberus because I just wanted to pet the big dog. And I don't think he really gives you anything other than extra health.
No, it's more of like there's I started investing all. So the little gift that you give is nectar.
Oh,
nectar of the gods.
Ah.
So I gave it to I started giving it to Meg.
Right.
And she'll so like certain characters will actually give you like an extra item on top of once you reach like a certain level with them, like relationship level with them.
So Meg is the first boss, and then she will show up in the House of Hades after you've killed her.
Because she's like her shift's finished. She's having a drink. And
so then you start fighting her psycho sisters instead.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a Meg fight for a while.
She still pops up occasionally for me.
I've got a feeling it's mostly to do with the item that I have equipped at the minute. That involves Meg. So like you can eventually unlock like Meg will you press like the left trigger and Meg will come and assist you.
Oh, is it the call?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using
not the throws, not the throws.
No,
not the little diamonds that you throw. It's literally like Meg will come in and kill some enemies for me.
Yeah, I tried to get the Ares one because he just sends in a giant saw blade that spins around the map while you're doing your thing,
Yeah.
which is pretty useful.
So that's like so if you go into like the index sort of thing, like the it'll give you like the love hearts of like how
Yeah,
far in the relationship you are with them. So like I find Meg's is very useful. So I think that might be why I've not seen Meg like as a boss fight for a while, because I
I
don't think it makes logical sense to the game that
yeah I've not gifted her anything yet. I've been
she's also like the conversations that you get out of her once you start handing over the nectar and stuff like that is
so I've started trying to give my gifts to each of the Olympian gods that you find on your run, because then they give
yeah.
you an item which basically lets you choose who your first boon will be from, which can be pretty handy. Although obviously you got to sacrifice the Skelly Tooth, which gives you the extra death.
Yeah, but if you're like, so I am very much convinced that the chill and the frost and lightning stuff is the best way to go in that game, especially Zeus's stuff, like dash
Yeah,
and
the
strike all
Zeus stuff
enemies
is,
with.
as I said, was super useful with the shield because it just basically just gives you an extra attack wherever I'm throwing the shield. It just calls down a lightning bolt along with the shield damage, which will wipe out most enemies that I've encountered so far.
Yeah. Uh, I really like the combat in that game. I've always enjoyed Supergiant Games stuff. I haven't really played. I've never played Pyre, but I got it in the Black Lives Matter bundle. So at some point I'll go back to that. But like Bastion is an all-time favorite, and Transistor was fine, different but fine. But I appreciate like Hades going back to like the one-to-one combat of Bastion, but in
Yeah,
this form.
I've not really played much from Supergiant. I played a little bit of Bastion.
I would
Didn't
still,
really
I
make
would
the
still,
connection with this.
I would still make the recommendation of Bastion all the time. One of the best Xbox Live Arcade games from that summer of arcade stuff that they did a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's pretty frequently on sale on the Nintendo eShop for like £3.
Yeah, because it's old as balls. You
So
probably actually
maybe one
already
day.
own it. You probably actually already own it in some capacity.
It is one of those
So
things that perpetually sits on my Switch, Bastion, that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I do have this. And yeah, it just kind of sits there. I don't really play it, but I have it.
I had it on the Live Arcade. So if I were to dig out my 360, I have a copy
I
somewhere.
I I bet it's on Game Pass.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Most things
Uh,
are.
most things are these days. And then I guess like the last thing that we've all been playing, like, well, me and Jacob have been playing Mario's.
Yeah, I've kind of
We've done we that. So we have a new series coming, ranking.
oh yeah,
I'm in the midst of editing it. It is coming. It's a lot more work than I realized.
it got messy.
But will be finished at some point in the next week. I've still got to capture Mario 64, New Super Mario Bros, and Odyssey, and then the footage is all finished.
Damn.
Um, yeah. So Jacob, you've been playing Sunshine for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, not first time, but
So yeah, before I kind of get
properly.
into that, I have been kind of sitting here with my mic muted because one, I've not had much to say about Hades. I probably will, now that I've been paid. I probably will buy it, maybe even tonight.
Ooh.
But also, they've been fucking clattering like nobody's business next door. They must be doing some kind of DIY next door because they've been hammering and shit. So for the first while, I'm sorry if you guys could hear that. So I ended
It's
up
all
muting
good.
myself
It's
for a
all
couple
good.
as well. Yeah, Mario Sunshine. So I played a bit of Mario Sunshine here and there. Like I'm pretty sure I rented it maybe when I was younger, and also have kind of touched it here and there when I worked at CEX and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the first time I'm like going through it properly, and I really, really like it. Way more than I thought I would, because I always thought I kind of liked it. I was like, yeah, it's a Mario game, it's going to be good. But no, I'm like genuinely really, really enjoying it. And I
It is.
even said to Hannah, yeah, last night, I was like, by the time I'm done with this, I might even like it more than Mario 64.
Yeah, it is. I, I've never even like considered someone going to it for the first time with the 3D All Stars.
Yeah.
Like properly going to it for the first time. Like
Mm.
obviously, like you've touched it over the years, and you know you've got reference for what. But like, I'm glad more people are getting on board with the Sunshine
Mm.
train, even with all its quirks and you know oddities that it brings with it.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of the arguments I had in our ranking episode was about how the game looks and how I really like how the aesthetic of how it's all bright and cheery and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And the things that you could kind of criticize about Sunshine were, the controls being a bit odd sometimes. But I've only had a couple of instances where I'm like, oh, come on, that didn't really feel very good to play. And as a result, I've died or something like that. But when the controls go well for you, which is most of the time, it feels so good.
yeah. The only time like I have those like, oh well, that's bullshit, is during the floodless like platform
Yeah,
levels.
those are a bit slippery. Like on some of the bits where you want to kind of ground pound nails to get like one ups and things like that.
Oh my god!
Those are
Or
really slippery. The amount of times I've almost fallen off the stage entirely because I just can't land on the nail.
yeah,
A bit of a pain.
or you know, like you do a jump and it's you've pressed the analog stick in such a way that when you press A, he does that flip to the side.
Oh, I love the flip jump.
The flip
That's my
jump's
jam.
great, but not when you are trying to survive.
uh,
Um,
and the flood controls, I think the flood kind of hovering and the rocket nozzle and things like that. Uh, it's a really nice evolution of kind of Mario platforming. It feels different enough to where I'm like, yeah, this is something really cool and new.
yeah, like and the only real complaint I have about the flood stuff at the minute is with the main squirter nozzle,
Mm.
where they've inverted the controls,
Yes, this is
but in the wrong. So
so go ahead.
you can do that over the shoulder
Yeah.
look with, and they've inverted that so that now feels right. Because that used to be like flight controls where down is up and
See,
up is down.
that's interesting because me and Hannah both thought we were going crazy because we were like, it feels like it should be the other way around, but that's inverted.
So yeah. So and then when you're just playing the game regularly, like running around and stuff, or when you do the stop and squirt,
Yeah.
that's the wrong way around now.
Yeah.
So they've inverted the controls completely, but at least the camera is fixed.
Oh my god, going
Um,
from 64 to Sunshine and just being like, I can move the camera wherever the hell I want.
oh,
This
but
is
oh, but
amazing.
but then also like the camera is no longer inverted, so like left is left and right is right,
Oh,
because on the GameCube version that was also inverted with no options to change it.
ugh.
Um, so yeah, I'm glad that more people are getting into the Sunshine
It's
because
great, yeah. I'm actively wanting to play it like more and more as it goes on,
uh,
which as much as I liked Mario 64 and had a lot more familiarity with it, it was more kind of a I just want to get this done so I can move on kind of thing. Whereas here I'm
yeah,
like, no, I'm actually really enjoying it.
I was playing a little bit more Galaxy last night, which was that game gets more and more interesting the more like the deeper you get in.
Mm.
But like, holy shit, there are some moments where Mario is just running in a circle, and I have to stop because of like the way that the um gravity stuff works. So like you're running around this planet and then suddenly Mario's getting confused or I'm getting confused in my mind, so Mario's running around in a circle because I'm still thinking up is like carry on
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
forwards, and but like that's the thing with gimmicks, is sometimes you just got to take the lumps with the lumps.
Yeah, it largely still works, but there are quirks sometimes to it.
Yeah, but like also the adventure I have been on of capturing all these Mario games for this ranking video.
Sounds like it's been a bit of a struggle, yeah.
Uh, so capturing like the NES and the SNES and Mario Sunshine and the 3D All Stars stuff is fine. Like that's literally just plugging in my Elgato, pressing record and go. It is the DS, the 3DS, the Wii U.
Yeah.
So like I have my Wii U down next, literally like in a box next to me, but am I gonna start digging around for my copy of 3D World in the loft?
Yeah.
So I started going down the emulation path because
you'd think it might be more convenient.
More convenient. It turns out like these emulation teams are fascinating and an incredible bunch because of like especially like the Dolphin crew. So like the Dolphin crew are incredible because they are replicating the Wii. So like to capture Galaxy 2, which I don't know where my copy of that game is, or neither do I know where my Wii remotes are. They have just disappeared from the bag under the stairs.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what I've done with them. So I thought, right, I'll just use my PS4 controller to control the game, and it's got that gyro stuff in it. So I'll map the gyro via DS4 for Windows to all the gyro stuff to the right stick.
Mm-hmm.
So then that don't fucking work. The pointer is going fucking crazy all over the place. I apologize. You'll probably be able to hear my dog whining in the background because
I can't hear anything over the fucking hammering going on next door.
because someone has just left the house, even though he's 11 fucking years old, and we leave the house all the time.
Never gonna come back.
Oh my god!
I just caught the hammering for the first time.
Fuck! Listen to this bullshit.
Don't worry, Joel. My dog cries when I cross the road.
Yeah, no, like so, like the Wii, the Dolphin crew have managed to like do their best, and these games are pretty much like you stick in a GameCube or a Wii game, you are getting a 1-to-1 experience, pretty much.
Oftentimes
New Super
looks better.
Yeah, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Mario Galaxy 2 in 1080p is great. Obviously, without Wii remotes, like those games don't really work. Because like Mario Bros. Wii has the turning platforms to get certain stuff. But then moving to like Wii U emulation, which is much further along than I thought it would be. Like they've got a compatibility list, which most of it is like, yeah, no, this plays well enough that you can finish the game from start to finish. But there's a few issues here and there. But like the Wii U emulation we are now hitting the point where the computers are no longer able to emulate stuff fast enough without like stuff that you wouldn't see on a console.
Yeah.
So like compiling shaders and for Mario 3D World, so the game will just sort of hang up sometimes because it's got to compile shaders that the console does for you, and the PC's not only running all of Windows and all the stuff and the graphics for this Wii U emulator, but then is also trying to emulate a Wii U console to trick this game into running right. So it's just fascinating where things have come, and also seeing that game in 1080 in 4K is like it runs once it's done compiling shaders. It runs perfectly,
like a dream,
and seeing it in 4K is I
can imagine, yeah.
Like I don't know, the Switch version has a boots to fill. Now I've seen it in 4K. But yeah, no, like, and then 3DS emulation is weird, because it's still a little bit hitchy here and there. Like they've worked on certain games, but yeah. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm just going to see what the fuck this beast wants.
Okay. Oh, Joel's gone away.
Joel's gone away.
Oh man,
I
how
don't
do
know
you
if this
how do you
part will
host
get.
how do you host a podcast?
I don't know. Will this part get edited?
I don't fucking know. Shall I go and interview one of the builders next door?
Yeah, that might be some content. I should probably
Follow it.
warn as well. In the very far distance, I have heard the ice cream man.
Oh, Mr. Whippy's he just loves the podcast, doesn't he?
Hey,
That bullshit. Oh my god.
You got a hammer bro next door.
Should I just start beating the wall next to it?
Hey, I'm recording my podcast.
Yeah, I'll get you to shout at him like you shouted at your mum.
Oh man. But yeah, no, emulation stuff is fascinating. It's a weird world, but like I'm more interested in seeing like, hey, these 3DS guys have the Citra emulator. I don't know why it's Citra. But like these guys have managed to fucking create an actual online working emulator, and then you see like and Dolphin have managed, like the Dolphin crew have managed to emulate Dragon Quest X with its servers on PC, even though the PC version technically exists, but like, hey, this Wii version still exists, so we'll carry on doing that. Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that Mario video comes out.
Oh yeah, like
back.
It is hundreds of gigs big at this point. The project, it is a fascinating journey, but within all this capturing stuff, so I haven't played anything but Mario games for the last week.
Good.
So it's got its highs and lows. You start playing a new Super Mario Bros. Game, and suddenly you're like, oh fuck this. Oh my god. But I managed to finish Mario World, which is a much shorter game than I thought it was. I wound up capturing like nearly 2 hours of footage of Mario World because I was just playing it.
Yeah, not to spoil anything, but do you feel like you'd have changed any of your opinions from going back and getting the footage for some of these games?
Yes.
Ooh, interesting.
I would have fought harder for Mario Galaxy 2. I would have also fought much harder for I don't know, like the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Now that I've played, I've only got the DS version to go back to now, and I get the same sting of like, oh my god, these are all just the DS games with very little changes. Like the original DS game with either 4 players or 1 player. Like
the gimmick.
I would have also like the. I think the weirdest ones to go back to were Land and Land 2.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my god, like this is a very core crux of my childhood.
No.
And you forget like those sorts of things sometimes. Like Super Mario Land still has a killer soundtrack. I recommend everyone go look up World 2-1 of Mario Land's OST. Because it is phenomenal.
I know like one of the songs from there. I can't remember. I don't even know what it was called. I don't even know why I mentioned it.
It's the dude who does all the video game covers, where he does the a cappella covers, has done one.
Oh, Smooth McGroove.
Yeah, he did that.
Okay.
It was like number 2 search when I put it in.
Is it the one that goes da 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 at the start? Because
no, I can actually.
That's a song I know. It's a bit problematic nowadays.
I could actually play it for you.
Ooh.
if I had the thing. Technology. No, I'll paste it into the podcast. It'll be playing underneath us talking.
Lovely.
But my USB, the USB-C thing to connect my phone, because no headphone port on my phone. But yeah, video games, they're a thing.
It's pretty good.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Thanks. I've not spoken in a while. I need to get someone in before the end.
I'm actually mute and unmute my mic so that you guys don't get any hammering through. So I'm like, good response.
Yeah, we will be back with another podcast. Ranking will be in the main podcast feed for the foreseeable future. At some point. Those shows will be coming
Patreon.
One day, Jacob. One day.
Give us your money.
One day we'll have 2 Patreons like that Hack Fraud does, and then we will. Yeah, we will. 2 Patreons will, and then one of us will have to get cancelled. So
one of us will say something minorly controversial that will then
which is why we will never fucking do anything live for the yet.
Always edited.
Always edited. Thank you, guys.
Play safe.
Yes, play safe. Use a condom when recording podcasts.
Absolutely.
I have not.
And thank you, Hammerman.
I want to go slap a bitch.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.